Okay, so I'm now making a video that nobody has asked me to make, that I have absolutely no affiliation to this organization. I don't actually know the law on that in this jurisdiction, but I promise if I was ever paid to promote anything, I would ethically say that I was paid to promote it. Um, that I just want to share because it's a thing I found that was cool and I thought it was cool, and I told some other people and they're like, oh, that's cool. So I thought I'd talk a bit more about it. I mentioned it in another video as well. Which is language learning apps. I was going to make a separate video about the pros and cons of using language learning apps, and also like which ones are best for which thing. And this is the thing I wanted to talk about today is this app called Drops. Which I am using to learn so many languages. I've got it for Portuguese. I don't even remember Thai. I don't even remember downloading these things. Hindi. Oh, okay. I can't speak Hindi. I downloaded an app. Like, doesn't mean I actually speak Hindi. Let's pull it up for Russian. It's a very cool. It displays the different topics and these things. It's called Drops because the words drop down, and izvinite, that's a very useful word. Get into your head that way. And I have found it really useful. I found it really good in its presentation and aesthetics and usability. And I also really like the way that it does give you these regular reminders without being too obtrusive. It does engage in that. I don't know what it's called, where it's like the timed re-exposure, that idea that you get words from your short-term memory into your long-term memory when you're learning vocabulary in a second language through being sort of exposed to it again as you're about to forget it, and all the algorithms involved in that. And I really don't mean to be all Jennifer Aniston, being like, here comes the science bit, and then like handing over to someone else. But I am not the person to talk to about timed re-exposure to vocabulary. I know someone who studies that actually, so maybe I will interview them. But it does, and I don't know what algorithm this one's working versus Memrise versus Duolingo, and I have absolutely no agenda and no dog in that fight, but it does work on that, and I have found it very useful. I used it to teach myself Icelandic before I came here, and I found that very useful because it was getting the vocab in my head. It's really good at learning numbers. Like, I'll download it for something like what's the weird Hindi? Like, I don't speak Hindi, but I have taught myself the numbers in Hindi, which is very useful. And there's this also kind of like meta app called Scripts, which is now I have to write some katakana because I clicked on that. Yes, I'm using it to teach myself these scripts. So like just to learn the scripts of languages, which I found very useful. A lot of the languages I'm learning at the moment have different scripts. So I used it for my to get all my hiragana and katakana in my head, the Hangul. It also has Hindi. I'm not learning Hindi, but it's cool to know it's out there. I found that very useful, how it's very focused. And the reason I came across it is because I was looking for an app to learn Icelandic. And that seems to be something very cool about this app. I haven't actually looked at a list of what languages it does and doesn't include. I believe it's made in Estonia. You call tech e-democracy pioneers. I love Estonia. I think maybe that's part of it's sort of like leaning towards less well-known languages, not just like the sort of big global language. It has Icelandic. I downloaded an app to teach myself Esperanto at one point. Did not get very far with Esperanto. It's just a mush of every other language. I was like, this is like the worst possible thing for my brain. So that's also good. So if you have a language you want to learn that might not be on like Duolingo or Memrise, check out Drops. It might be on that. I also like, it's not the only language learning app I use. I still use Duolingo because my Hebrew teacher tells me to use it between classes to like just keep going. And I have used Memrise in the past for some language that I didn't carry on with at all, for Swedish, but that's not a criticism of Memrise, that's a criticism of me. And I've got this really cool one called Infinite. I've got Infinite Korean, Infinite Mandarin, and Infinite Japanese. I don't know if anyone else knows this one. I have never talked to anyone about it. It's like my little secret. But it's just Infinite Japanese, and these things just like drop down, and if you don't click on it enough, it like explodes. So there's like a bit of pressure to like say ichi ni, like otherwise the thing is going to explode. It's like, it's a bit traumatic, but I found that quite not helpful, quite fun. I used to do it on the bus in Australia a lot, and like in like Sunnybank, and everyone's just like, who's that annoying English girl like blowing up Korean words in our face? Sorry. Yeah, but Drops I think is very good to check out for usability, aesthetics, timed like a repetition to exposure to get words from short term to long term. It updates regularly, so the vocab is the only thing within that I found the Arabic app, which is a pervasive problem for online learning Arabic resources. Which is one of the reasons that I'm not fluent in Arabic, not just that I'm just stupid, is of like what vocabulary you can, like there, it seemed like a very odd mix of formal and infusar, different kinds of words that would be used in one context and not be used in another, and that wasn't very well signposted, but that is obviously a struggle that I have a lot of empathy for people trying to design tools for people learning Arabic, because there's that whole debate of like, what Arabic are we learning? But whereas with the Hebrew one, I didn't find that. There's not like problematic tone shifts or like weird discrepancies in register. Yes, certainly if you're learning Icelandic, I found it very useful, and I've shown it to my Icelandic friends here, partly like as a joke of like all the apps that there are here, and I was like, I've got one too. Okay, Iceland is just like, I love you, give me citizenship. Iceland is very cool in how it keeps a lot of like very pre-modern tradition, pagan festivals, like troll houses, stone, like the beauty of like the pre-Christian traditions, and it's also like super high tech. So you have like the Aurora app to tell you when like the Northern Lights are coming out, the app to check whether or not you're dating your cousin. Yeah, that's like the joke about Iceland. I don't know if that's it. I'm not from Iceland. I actually checked out that app, and the volcano app to check if there's any volcanic activity in your area, which I live next to a volcano. I'm actually quite scared. So I was showing my friends. I was like, look, I have an app too. It's called Drops. Teaches me Icelandic. And they were playing around with it, and they were like, yeah, that's good. That we would say that. We would say like ekatmal. We would say, ekataka. Like these can they're like it passed their test, which is good. I can't vouch for the others because I haven't shown the other apps to other native speakers, but I thought that gave it sort of some credibility, and it's also very pretty. I like that. There's a whole other debate to be had about language learning apps. Are they good or not? Like the quantified self, that like little buzz you get from like you've passed to the next level and therefore it's all been worth it. Whether it's performative, just don't go around boasting about it and then like just do your own thing, then it's cool. That's my hot take on Drops. I'm not paid to promote them at all. I don't know anyone in any way involved in them. I'm not doing this like because anyone asked me to. But if I'm ever in Estonia, like, hey, Drops people, can I come hang out with you? Like, I love Estonia. I love Drops. It'll work out really well. I'll show you my love app.